You are destined to become what you are to be. So whatever I do, I have to do it well. Otherwise, it's not worth doing. So that's the reason why I think I'm not a perfectionist. I don't get on people's nerves. But what I do, I should do well. You're learning English as you're walking. So to me, it was truly an innovation. People are exercising, people are loving nature, people are learning a language. Skills are something that you learn, and attitude is something you develop. So, I am the Vice Chancellor of Apollo University.
That sounds really inspiring.
Welcome to the very first episode of the Apollo Talks, an initiative of Media, Eco and Trekking Club, where we bring you insightful conversations with leaders, innovators, and change makers in the world of education and healthcare. I am today's host, Angel Mahajan from Department of Psychology, currently pursuing Bachelor's in Health Psychology. And today we have a very special guest with us, none other than the Vice Chancellor of the Apollo University, Dr. Vinod Bhat, who is a distinguished academic leader, a visionary in medical field, and the driving force behind Apollo's motive to redefine learning and healthcare. In this first ever podcast, we'll discuss the future aspects of the university and some personal achievements of Dr. Vinod Bhat. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Hope you're doing well.
Thank you, thank you.
Before we start, I would like to ask you, what truly inspired you to become the person you are today? And could you share a little bit about your journey?
Well, I can tell quite a bit about the journey, but you are destined to become what you are to be, and that is, I think, that's beyond your control. So it's just by accident that I'm in this position. So I didn't work very hard looking at this as an objective or a goal to be. So I began as a medical practitioner. I specialized in pediatrics and in community medicine. I was a teacher in a medical school, but for 14 years, I was working in a rural hospital. So we set up a rural hospital, my wife and I, and this was a mother and child hospital. She was the obstetrician, I was the pediatrician. This was attached to the university. It was the university's outreach program, and I was there happily for 14 years, thinking that I have been forgotten there and I would retire from that. That was what I was destined to be. But in the year 2000, 2001, I was invited to come to the main campus to head the Department of Community Medicine. So that's where my life took a turn. So all along for 14 years, I was a practicing clinician. And in 2001, I was an academic head of a department in a medical school. In 2003, I was asked to head the hospital. In 2004, I was made the director of planning of the university. In 2005, I became a registrar. And in 2010, I became a pro-vice chancellor. In 2015, I was made the vice chancellor. So it was steps after steps which led me there. But honestly, I did not look at the next step. I just did what I had to do. And I think I got recognized and was asked to get into a position which is any academic's dream. So I was the vice chancellor of the Manipal University from 2015 to 2020, and then after retirement, Apollo wanted me here, so here I am, 22, like it or not. So for the next 3 years, I am the Vice Chancellor of Apollo University.
That sounds really inspiring. That being said, were there any passions or interests that have influenced you till date?
Well, so my only passion was that I should be able to do what I'm asked to do with a degree of perfection and precision. So that is my passion. Even today, that's my driving passion. So whatever I do, I have to do it well. Otherwise, it's not worth doing. So that's the reason why I think I could do well and perform well in the different roles I had, both in the colleges, institutions, and in the university.
Okay, so you are a perfectionist.
I'm not a perfectionist, so I don't get on people's nerves. But what I do, I should do well. So I don't complain about a person who has not done well. But if I have to do something, how to do it well.
Well, you're also known to be a very avid stamp collector yourself. Do you think creativity and innovation impact the learning of a student?
Of course, I think the more people get involved in what they're doing, the more experiential is the learning. So they get better, they can absorb better. So creativity and innovations are nothing but aiming to do something better than what you did all this time. Just the other day, while I was taking a walk in the grounds of the university, I happened to see one of the faculty from the School of Technology accompanying a group of students and taking a walk on the road. So I asked, don't you have anything to do in the college? Then I was told that this teacher was explaining different nouns, trees, flowers, leaves, and what it means in English. So you're learning English as you're walking. So to me, it was truly an innovation. People are exercising, people are loving nature, people are learning a language, all put together. So this is something that I thought was very creative, very innovative, coming from a faculty. So I quite like that. So for me, stamps have been with me from my early childhood, from the time I was 7 years. So I'm now nearing 70. I still collect stamps. So it's become a hobby, a pastime. It has helped me to understand a whole lot of things about different countries. So that's still my passion.
What kind of skills do you think students must develop to thrive and rapidly change in this ever evolving job aspect?
There are two aspects to this, skills and attitude. So skills are something that you learn, and attitude is something you develop. So skills, any amount of skills today, everybody is talking about artificial intelligence and machine learning and whatever else. But I think technical skills go along with a student's learning on campus within a university. But attitudes have to be developed by the student themselves. So if you're talking about I care for the environment, that's an attitude. If you're talking about respect for the elders, that's an attitude. If I say that I am responsible for the society around me, that's an attitude. And the skills come along with that. So I feel both these things are equally important. The students have to equip themselves with all skills required, technical skills, soft skills, communication skills, life skills. All these are important for a student. Hand in hand will be an attitude that I will become a responsible citizen, I'll be a caring family person, I will be responsible for the country, I'm a patriot. So all these are attitudes that should come along with education.
So both should go
Hand in hand.
What did you dream of becoming when you were a child, and has that evolved today?
Well, my generation, we had very little say about what we could do. So for me, from childhood, it was ingrained in my mind that you will become a doctor. So I had no words to defy that, and I could not challenge it. So I trained to be a doctor. I got an admission in a medical school, and I went along. So to that extent, to fulfill my parents' dreams, well, I did that role. But more than that, my parents wanted me to not just become a doctor, but to serve the society. So in that way also, I think I've done, I wouldn't say remarkably well, but I think I've done my due responsibilities to the society. So I'm quite happy with that. The responsibilities that followed were not in the script. So that is teaching or research or academic administration. That's something that we had never planned for. So it happened in the course of my journey.
So it was evolving as
Yeah, absolutely.
Putting more light on the same, how can a person create a balance between work life and a personal life?
But this is a question that is coming into fore of late because of certain industry leaders telling about minimum number of hours that a professional has to put. So I won't want to add anything to that, but as doctors, I think we are trained to work for more than 100 hours a week. So we begin our life working 100 hours a week. For the first 10 hours of our life, we work 100 hours a week. We don't take more than a week of holiday in 1 year. So we are trained that way. So professional life comes first in the life of a doctor, but personal life is as important, but helps if you have a supporting family. So this is very important. It is not about what I think or what I do, but if I have an understanding or a caring wife at home, and children who will resonate with my ideas, then life becomes easier. So it's not just my choice, but it also becomes a choice of the family. So you've got to strike that balance. So one golden rule would be don't bring family to workplace and don't take work to family. So if you can bifurcate that life. So for example, I do not entertain any university related discussion at home. So no, if anybody has anything to speak, they should come to my office and not at home. So unless it is, you want to come, let's socialize, have dinner together, that's fine. But let's not talk university. So this is something that is sacred and which I've followed diligently all through my working life.
So creating boundaries and having a really important social support system is important, is what you're doing. Adding more onto that, what are your relaxation activities?
Well, I read a lot. So I have always a few books open to be read at minimum of 1.5 hours of reading per day at home, in addition to whatever else is read in office. So reading becomes critical to my everyday life. So there's a term in Japanese called sundoku. So sundoku means you're accumulating more books than you can read. I think without my knowledge, I have been a sundoku. I always have about 40 books to be read. So they're there piled up. So when you have a pile of books to be read for tomorrow, what it says is you're an optimist. So I live to see tomorrow morning, and I have a book for tomorrow. It tells me so many things. So I love reading. I love travel. I love cricket, not today's cricket, but then I love music and my steps.
Being a reader, would you recommend anything to the students?
The students, I would say that read whatever you want, but read. Reading is something that you've got to cultivate so that it adds to your general knowledge. It makes you read biographies of great people. It makes you understand situations in the world that happened sometime in the past. Or you can even read fiction. There are good fiction writers, there are travel writers. I know that YouTube and blogging sites have replaced reading, but don't give up.
That was honestly a very positive outlook to life, collecting more than you can read. Coming towards work, till date, what was your best working experience and any particular reason behind the same?
Well, so there have been many points in the professional life where you can say that this has been an important moment for me, for my organization, and I'm happy that I was a part of it. One such moment that will forever remain fresh in my mind is sometime in 2017 when the Ministry of HRD, at that time the Ministry of Education was called Ministry of Human Resource Development, announced a scheme called Institutions of Eminence. So they had said that 10 public sector and 10 private universities would be selected based on certain set of factors: their past performance, their future potential, and their governance structure. I thought that when I was the Vice Chancellor in Manipal, that Manipal should be one of the contenders for that position. So we worked hard. We were given 90 days to prepare the proposal. So I put up a team, and the team worked day and night, and on the 88th day, we sent all the documents to Delhi. We were called to make a presentation. I went to Delhi with a small team and made a presentation to a very eminent selection committee. And based on which Manipal was one of they selected 10, but they selected only 3 private universities. They selected 7 public and 3 private. So Manipal was one of them. Beach Pilani, Manipal, and GU. So I think these are the three universities which were recognized as institutions of evidence. And this happened the result came in 2018, and the day that it was announced, I still remember that morning, around 10 o'clock in the morning. So the Minister for HRD tweeted, and we saw that tweet, and he was tweeting from Toronto in Canada. He had gone there for a conference. He said, "Congratulations, Manipal, congratulations, big son." So, like we were suddenly on the moon. So it was that kind of a moment, and I can't forget that moment. So we are still in Manipal. They are still celebrating that. They are gone far ahead using that tag. So I'm happy that it happened during my time as a vice chancellor, and I'm happy that I had a little bit to contribute to that. So that was a big moment.
That sounds to be a very exciting moment. The question on every mind, are there any initiatives at work to promote international collaborations and globalizing the university currently?
Absolutely. So this is something that every university should aspire for. Internationalization means different things to different people. So the most visible aspect of internationalization is having international students coming on campus. So that becomes visible, they stand out. They're in the classroom, they're on campus. That becomes visible, but internationalization is much more than that. It is creating opportunities for my students to go abroad. It's already happening. It's talking about two universities coming together and co-teaching. It's happening. We're talking about sending my students after part training to some other university with which we partner and completing the degree there and earning the degree. That's happening. We're looking at two universities coming together and working on research. That is work in progress, not happening. But so I feel a whole lot more can happen. The ultimate thing would be a campus of Apollo outside the country. That would happen someday. So all these are things that we are working on. Right now, we already have partnerships with some of the top universities in the world, top 100 universities like RWTH Aachen, University of New South Wales in Australia, and some of your the health technology students are going to Harvard Medical School Hospital. So all these things are happening, but we are wishing to do much more than this. So we have signed up with Central Queensland University. We have signed up with. We're working with University of Monash. We're working with Maastricht University, and big time with Leicester University in University of Leicester in England. So all these things are happening, and I feel that internationalization is something that will continue to be on our agenda, but it will show up when it reaches a tipping point. And that tipping point is when you have maybe 5% of my students on campus international, and I have 10% of my students studying at any given point of time somewhere else in the world. So that moment will happen.
That definitely sounds like a lot of opportunities are coming forward for the students.
Yeah.
Coming forward, could you tell us more about the Center for Digital Health and Precision Medicine and its potential in the foreseeable future?
Yeah, this is something that we work with University of Leicester. So we have been collaborating with them for the last 2 years or so. University of Leicester is one of the most well-known universities in England, and it's in the top 200 in the world. So we are looking at several things with University of Leicester. We're talking about the 2+1 articulation program for students to join in Chittor and complete from Leicester. We're looking at master's students going there. And we also have set up the Center for Digital Health and Precision Medicine here in Chittor in partnership with Leicester. Now, these are three elements coming together: Apollo University, University of Leicester, and the Apollo Health System. So the Apollo hospitals with their big data. So they all come together, and this is where we think the work will go on with regards to the Apollo data, plus any NHS data, the National Health System data coming from England through Leicester, which can be worked on by researchers sitting here. And the solutions that come could be of immense help to both our populations and UK populations or any other population anywhere in the world. This center has the capability of joining up with Stanford, with Mayo Clinic, with Maastricht, with Monash, and a few other universities in the country and outside. So we can foresee this as that one shining star of the university, which will attract the best of talent in this field from other universities of the world. So that is one part. What it does is digital health will include a whole lot of things like wearable devices, like remote sensing and remote monitoring of patients, all that. But precision medicine will be working on the genetics, the genomics, the pharmacogenomics, and in terms of personalized medicine for treatments of cancers and other things. So we feel that put together, these two have the potential of changing the landscape of healthcare across the world. So if you can do that, I think, and you can show that as an experimental site here in Chittoor, I'm sure that this will be a lesson for the entire world.
Yeah, that truly sounds lovely. Any initiatives that are in place to encourage students to pursue entrepreneurial or creative ventures?
Yeah, so we have set aside some space for what we call as an Apollo Incubation Center next to the Center for Digital Health and Precision Medicine. 10,000 square feet of area is set up for perhaps in the next 1 month. We'll be inaugurating this, the start of the incubator. So the idea is that this whole ecosystem of education, research, young population, senior faculty put together have the potential of doing something which has commercial value. And as you know, Andhra Pradesh is very entrepreneurial. And this whole state has got that sense of enterprise within it. So the youngsters also carry that gene. And I feel that if you can tap it right, we can, with the right kind of mentorship from faculty, we can set up several startups in the incubator, making this place truly different. So Rayalaseema, this whole region, at least until it was divided, we could say that Chittoor was part of, or Tirupati was part of Chittoor district. Now these two districts are different. So Chittoor district will have its own incubator, should have its own startup ecosystem, and I feel that we are at the right time and the right place to do this.
I'm sure all the students and everyone's totally looking forward to that. Any piece of advice you would like to give to the students who aspire to become something in their own respective fields?
Yeah, I think all students graduating from Apollo University should remember that a university is not merely a place where you come and spend 3 years, study well, and get a degree and move on. But that's not our intent of education. Our intent of education is to make you responsible global citizens. Period. The global citizenship means that if you have this Apollo degree, you should be able to be employed anywhere in the world. So to do that, you've got to find skills which match your requirement. You've got to develop those attitude that I talked about. We from the university will create those opportunities. It is for you to come and get the best of that opportunity. There are language classes, there are other electives, there is AI for non-AI students. There are so many other things that are being available on campus. You can choose. There are clubs, there are student initiatives. All these will allow you to expose and reshape yourself and your leadership skills. For example, if you are now, you have an events club. So if, as an events club, you're managing an event, that organizational skills come into play. Your managing of finances come into play. Your discipline, your timeliness, your attention for detail all come into play. So all these attributes will help you to become whatever you wish to be. So tomorrow you may be, let's say, a software developer. But you may ask me, why is a software developer expected to learn any soft skills. I only work with what I'm asked to do. One day you'll become a team leader. One day you'll become the chief of that vertical. One day you'll become a COO. One day you'll become a CEO. So with just technical knowledge, you cannot become. So you got to have layers and layers of other skills over what is your core skill. And this is important. This is for the university to do. It's already there. It's for the students to find them and wear them and look better. So I'm sure that all these things will come to your help when it is time for your first job, and subsequently the messages that you pick up and develop over a period of time will help you in getting promoted in your places of work and become leaders in your whatever chosen field. It may be academics, it may be research, it may be enterprise, it may be your own concern, it may be somebody else's business. But ultimately, all of us have got traits of leadership. All of us have something in us which is different and unique. So it is for us to develop those skills, own them, and make sure that that will come to your assistance in your path to leadership.
That is really a great advice. Coming towards the end, is there any message you would like to give it to all?
To all, I think, learn to love everything. Your environment, your friends, your people, your elders, your teachers, your institution, your home, your country, all things great and small, all things, whether it is a creature, a tree, a bird, I think it is universal. So we are not spreading this message adequately, and therefore we see large-scale plundering of the environment. We see so much of recklessness and carelessness in handling water and other scarce resources. So all these things become important, and it is not just for a few people. It is for everybody. It is for all students, teachers, faculty, citizens, and this is a message for all of us that we are there with a purpose. The life on earth has to go on, and if that has to go on, we have to do certain things today, and we should put our bags together, hands together, minds together to make that the world and the earth is sustainable.
That was truly inspiring and enlightening conversation with you today. Thank you, sir, for sharing your insights and being our very first guest to the podcast.
Thank you, Anjal. Thank you very much.
With that, it was a wrap to our very first episode of Apollo Talks. If you have enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe, share, and stay tuned for more conversations where we explore ideas, innovation, and stories from Apollo's vibrant communities. Up until next time, keep learning and keep innovating.